Good morning, good to see you. Welcome to my Namaste studio at my home. Always part of the Namaste Ohmtown studio though, and so grateful that you stay connected us through this. Ooh, the birds are happy to be here too this morning. Sit well, sit up on your blankets, your blocks, anything to give your hips a little bit of height. Maybe you'd like to bring one ankle in front of another if that feels comfortable, dropping your knees lower than your hips. Now for me, as soon as I do that, I sort of feel like I'd like to fold the blanket over one more time, give me a little more height. The height actually gives you space in your low back. The height in the hips gives you space in your low back. Okay? So make sure you're sitting well. Hug your belly in towards your spine and lift your shoulders over your hips. Good. And if it feels comfortable, close your eyes and settle into the rhythm of your breath. This morning I thought I'd start class by sharing a reading from Dana Fall's book called Limitless. She writes these beautiful poems in honor of yoga and connecting with yoga. And I feel like this is a nice reading for us all to remember at this time. It's called Before the Beginning. Mystery infuses every phase of growth. The first green shoot to push its way above the dirt, leaves and buds, blossoms, fruit, and seeds. Even the dried stalks that rattle in the cold season, each stage is equally honorable. What was present before the beginning will be there after the end. As we move through our practice today, I really invite you to recognize where we are in this moment, where you are in this moment. To recognize perhaps some moments of growth that you've experienced. And to recognize at the core where you really kind of are true to yourself at all points, beginning, middle, and end. Enjoying the breath, enjoying the stillness of sitting in the breath. And we'll bring our hands to heart center. Bow our heads to our hearts. Lift the chin and float the eyes open. Float the arms up and overhead, softening the shoulders. Good. And then exhaling and releasing the hands to the floor. Inhaling, reaching the arms up and overhead. And exhaling and releasing. Anchoring down into the left fingertips, reaching the right arm up and overhead. Stretching through the right side. Inhale, come back. Switch sides. Inhale, come back. Take the right hand to the left knee. The spine gets long. Twist to your left. Opening up the body. Feeling the breath. Noticing what you're noticing. Twist and go the opposite way. Good. And then send your heels out in front. Keep your knees soft. Push your hands down into the mat. Stretch your toes up towards the ceiling. Good. Coming into Dandasana, the elbows point back, the toes point up. Stretching long. Nice. All right, reach your arms up and overhead. Soften your shoulders away. Good. Take a full breath in. exhale, take your hands to heart center, and then bend into your knees and make your way onto hands and knees, setting up for a tabletop pose. We bring the wrist creases right underneath the shoulders, the knees right underneath the hips, and we extend long through the top of the head. So nice neutral table. Shoulders are on the back, the belly hugs towards the spine, so the spine becomes one long line from the tailbone through the top of the head. Breathe in and breathe out. Exhale up into your cat stretch. Inhale through to cow. Begin to move back and forth between your cat and your cow. Just exploring the rhythm of your breath and connecting your breath to your movement. If as you move through cat-cow you feel you need a little more time, maybe a little more time before you start to really grow, you stay in that space and you notice. Maybe you notice that when you come down into that cow pose, there's just that breath where you feel like this is where I need to be for just this little bit of time. Or maybe for you, when you come into cow, you feel the strength of the low back reaching up towards the ceiling and you need a little more time in that space. Or maybe for you, you just like that rhythmic back and forth between cat and cow. We'll come into a neutral space, step the feet forward to the hands, push down into your feet, inhale and rise up. Reach the arms straight up and overhead, hug the belly in, take your hands through to heart center, reach the arms up and overhead. Good, exhale the hands through the center of your heart, 2 more rounds, reaching up and overhead as you root down into your feet. 3rd time up and around, beautiful, good. Now, step your feet wide on your mat and turn your feet so that from the middle of the ankle to the second toe, the feet are parallel to the edges of your mat. Then take your hands and gently push the inseam back so you start to feel your tailbone reach towards the back of the room. Then hug your belly in, good, and then float the arms up. Maybe that's a slightly different sensation. Take your hands out wide, coming into 5-pointed star. Good, breathe and find some space. Push down into your feet, reach out through your fingertips. Be really comfortable in this shape, in this space. Breathing and noticing. Drop that left hand, reach the right arm up. Go ahead and spider walk your left fingertips out to the side. As you anchor into your right foot, reach through your right fingertips. Inhale and come back. Do the same thing. We'll come back into that 5-pointed star. Very intentional here. Hugging the belly. Drop the right hand. Reach the left hand up. Walk the right fingertips down. Push into the outside edge of the left foot. Extending long. Just breathing here. As you push into that left foot, reach to the left fingertips. Beautiful. Come back to center. All right, take a breath. Bring your hands to heart center. Turn your left toes out to the outer edge of the mat. Bend into your left knee, bringing the left knee so it's weight bearing over the ankle. Push into the outer edge of your right foot. Now, if you feel like you need a little more space, you'll step that right foot back a little bit, or you'll step the right foot in a little bit. Keep that left foot as anchored as you can, and then bringing the arms out, coming into your warrior 2, looking out over the left hand, bringing the shoulders up towards the ceiling, and then heavy the weight down. The head gets heavy, the shoulders get heavy. You anchor into the hips, and you sort of notice the strength of your warrior pose. All right, take your hands to your hips so the hips stay nice and still. Straighten the left leg. Turn your left foot in. Anchor down into the feet again. Come into your 5-pointed star. Snuggle the shoulders, the heart opens, tailbone reaches to the floor. Breathing in and breathing out. Okay. Bring your hands to your hips, turn your right foot out to the side, bend into the right knee, bring the weight bearing of the right knee over the right ankle. Adjust with the left foot if you need to. Open up into your warrior two on this side. Feel the weight of your head dropping down to your tailbone. Feel the strength and the space. Hands to the hips, straighten the right leg. Turn your feet parallel to one another. Reach your arms out wide. Good. Push down into your feet. Reach your arms up and overhead. Take the hands through the center of your heart, hinging at the hips. Reach your fingertips towards the floor and extend from the tailbone through the top of the head. Now the floor could feel like it's just too far away, and then you may want to place your fingertips on blocks instead. Don't overdo pulling the hamstrings or the low back. We look to stretch, we don't look to pull. Right, push down into your feet. Inhale, rise up. Good, take your hands to heart center. Heel toe your feet back together again. Push down into your feet, reach your arms up and overhead. Exhale, hinge at the hips. Come into a forward fold again, placing your hands on blocks or even the tops of your thighs. Great option. Just till you feel that little bit of stretch, not a pull. All right, push down into your feet. Inhale, come up. Reach your arms up and overhead. Good, and then hands back to heart center. Step your feet wide again. Feet are parallel to the outer edges of your mat. Nice. Okay, five-pointed star. Beautiful pose, right? There's lots of symmetry to it. We find the same kind of energy in the left side as we do the right. We hug the belly in. We breathe here. We breathe in and we breathe out. Symmetry in the breath. Nice. All right, turn the left toes out to the side, bend into the left knee, back into our warrior two. Okay, now look and make sure you can see your big toe. So, the last side I had you make sure that the right foot was anchored down. This time I want you to really pay attention to that left knee. The temptation is to sink the left knee forward, but rather than doing that, we want the left knee to actually reach more towards the left edge of the mat in this shape. And one way we can do that is to lift the left heel up and let the left knee drop over to the left, then bring the left heel down, and then it's like, oh yeah, now I see that big toe. Good, shoulders are still weight bearing over the hips, and you're still happily breathing in and breathing out. Hands to the hips, straighten the left leg, turn the feet parallel to one another, turn the right leg out to the side. We'll do the same thing on this side. Float your arms out wide. Bring the right knee so it's weight bearing over the ankle. The left foot, we know we anchor it down to the floor, especially the outer edge, so we get a lift in the left hip. And then we'll just lift that right heel up, rotate the right knee over to the right edge of the mat, then bring the right heel down. We really feel that opening, that space. And we connect it to a nice steady inhale and exhale. And then just again, check in, what are you feeling and noticing in your warrior two? Virabhadrasana, if we're throwing out Sanskrit. Virabhadrasana 2. I don't know the Sanskrit numbers. Someone I'm sure does, but I don't. All right, straighten into the right leg, turn your feet. Good, hands to the hips. We'll come into that wide stance, half or forward fold, bringing the fingertips either to blocks or to the earth. Extending the spine long. All right, now we'll walk the palms forward and rest the head in between the arms, pushing into the fingertips, pushing back into the hips, snuggling the shoulders onto the back. And then heel toe your feet back together again. Keep your knees super bent. Walk your fingertips back, push into your feet. Inhale, rise up, reach the arms up and overhead. And exhale, hinge at the hips, come into forward fold, the variation that works best for you. Pushing down into your feet, inhale, rise up, reach your arms up and overhead. Exhale the hands to heart center. Good, now step your feet wide again. Come into our favorite this morning, 5-pointed star. It's a great foundation, and it's a great way to transition into some other standing poses, but it is a pose all by itself. Good, full breath in, full breath out. For this one, let's start by turning the right toes out to the side. Good, remember the left foot, roots back down to the floor, bend into your right knee. Beautiful, right knee is tracking over the right ankle. Release the right forearm to the right knee. The left hand comes next to the left hip. Sink down into that right hip. Again, if you need a little more space, you'll step the left foot back. Feel from your belly, you twist the left shoulder over the right. And then we'll reach the left arm up to the ceiling. Let the weight of the left shoulder drop into the right shoulder. And then turn your pinky towards the right and reach the left arm over the left ear. Push into the outer edge of the left foot, reach through the left fingertips. Coming into Parsvottanasana. Feel yourself breathing, feel yourself softening, but at the same time staying strong and steady in your shape. All right, bring the left hand next to the left hip, straighten the right leg, rise up, turn your feet parallel to one another, turn your left toes out to the side, bend into the left knee, tracking the left knee so you can see your big toe. Release the left forearm to the left knee. Roll your right shoulder over your left. Right hand's right along the right side of the body. The right foot's rooting down. Float the right arm up towards the ceiling. Let the weight of the right arm drop the right shoulder towards the left. Turn your pinky to your left. And then go ahead and find your way into Parsvottanasana on this side. Intense side body stretch. Just sort of feeling the space, noticing what we're noticing. Inhale, bring the right hand back, straighten through the left leg, turn your feet parallel. Exhale, hinge at the hips, find that version of forward fold that works for you. Maybe you like walking your hands forward, bringing your head in between your arms, pushing back into your hips. Perhaps just a wide stance forward fold is better for you. All right, come back. Heel, toe your feet back to center. Keep those knees super bent. Dangle here in a forward fold. Maybe even reach for the opposite elbow with the hand. Pushing down into your feet, rise up, 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 reach your arms up and overhead. Good, and then exhale, take your hands through to heart center. Take another breath. I'd like you to grab your blocks and take your blocks so that they'll be behind your heels. Step your feet wide into that 5-pointed star, that awesome foundational pose. So again, we want the inner thighs to reach back. Knees stay soft. Good. Arms come up and out to the side. There you go. There's your foundation. Hug the belly. Push down into your feet. Breathe here. Right, now turn your right toes out to the side. Push into the outer edge of the left foot. Now, if this feels like it's too much for this left hip, you can always turn the left heel back and turn the toes in. I should have said that sooner. There's no reason to overstretch anything, ever. I did say that earlier, right? So we're just looking for a little stretch. We're not looking to pull anything. All right, now bring the right knee so it's weight bearing over the ankle. Take the right forearm to the right knee. Roll your left shoulder over your right. Now I'm offering you a choice. Push into the left foot, extend through the top of the head. You may feel comfortable reaching behind you for that block and resting your fingers on the block right behind your right ankle. Now, remember we want the right knee to stay weight bearing over the ankle. We'll float the left arm up and come into intense side body stretch, maybe feeling a little more intensity. If you don't care for this option, you can always float your right forearm back up. Try not to collapse, but actually lengthen through the right side of your body as you reach through the left fingertips. Keep breathing. And take the left hand back, straighten the right leg, rise up, turn your feet parallel to one another, 5-pointed star, shoulders hug onto the back, turn your left toes out to the side. Feel the weight of your shoulders drop down into your hips. We'll come into Parsvottanasana on this side. Bend the left knee so it's weight bearing over the ankle. Release the left hand to the block behind the left leg or the elbow to the knee again. Rolling from the belly, reaching the right arm up. Extending from the right foot through the right fingertips. Breathing here and just observing and noticing. Noticing that we're not folding down the right shoulder so that it comes forward so we can reach the block. We're opening up, almost, not really, but almost like a little bit of a back bend. Sometimes in class I might encourage you to come into a back bend, but really we're just trying to keep the heart open. This is a class, so what am I saying? If I were there in person, all right, good. Inhale, rise up, back to your 5-pointed star. Exhale, hinge at the hips, forward fold, heel to the feet back together again. Push down into your feet. Inhale, rise up, reach your arms up and overhead. Good, and then exhale, take your hands to heart center. Take a breath. Full breath in, full breath out. Good. Once again, we're going to step the feet wide. Find our 5-pointed star. Good, and then turn your left toes out to the side. Beautiful. Okay, this time keep your left leg straight. Now it's tempting to sort of lock into or hyperextend that left knee. Try to put a little bit of a softness in the knee. In fact, don't even try. Do it. Put a softness in the knee. Don't lock. Extend. So now you're going to have to really use the strength of the legs to hold you. Your shoulders are weight bearing over the hips. We'll extend long through the left fingertip. We'll reach, 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 reach. Then the arms are kind of not capable of staying balanced. Bring the right shoulder over the left. Reach for the block, coming up into triangle. So notice we're not trying to touch the floor. We're trying to stay open, just like in Parsvottanasana, same thing in Trikonasana. Now sometimes in Trikonasana, the toes want to be super engaged. Lift the toes off, push into the palm out of the left foot. Extending long through the right hand. You may even want to turn your gaze up to your right hand. Keep breathing, just enjoying the space. Allowing the body to slowly begin to bloom, to blossom, right? Push down into both feet. Inhale, rise up, turn your feet parallel, 5-pointed star again. So you can't make something bloom faster than it's ready to go. You have to sort of allow that to happen. So we'll turn the right toes out to the side. Good. Take a full breath in. Tilt your way into triangle on this side. Release the right hand as you bring the left shoulder over the right. Float the left arm up. Good, and remember the right fingertips are resting on the blocks but not weight bearing. Use your core to hold the weight as you look up towards your left hand. Breathing here, breathing in and breathing out. Push down into your feet. Inhale, rise up. Turn your feet parallel to one another. Hinge at the hips and forward fold. Surrender the head to the floor as you lift the hips to the ceiling. Maybe even walk your hands out to the ankles and put a little bit of push from the hands into the outside of the calves. Release your fingertips to the floor. Heel toe your feet back to the center. Push down into your feet. Inhale, rise up. Reach your arms up and overhead. Exhale your hands to heart center. Step your feet wide. We'll move through a little sequence of the poses that we just did. Turn your left toes out to the side. Bend into your left knee, bringing the left knee, weight bearing over the ankle. Float your left elbow to the place that works for you. Float your right arm up and overhead. Explore the shape here. Parsvottanasana. Inhale, rise up. Warrior two. Straighten your left leg. Reach the left arm forward, forward, forward. Float into triangle. Good. Feel yourself reaching through the tips of the fingers, opening up the heart, breathing and noticing. Rise up. Turn your feet parallel. Back to your five-pointed star. Turn your right toes out to the side. We'll make our way into Parsvottanasana. Bring the right knee over the right ankle. Extend long. Breathing from the left foot through the left fingertips. Nice. Rise up, warrior two. Straighten the right leg. Open your way into triangle. Inhale, rise up. Good. Bring your feet parallel to one another. Take a breath. Okay, coming into five-pointed star. Reaching the arms out wide. Bring your left toes, turn them out to the side. Bring your left knee over the ankle. Warrior two, look out over the left hand. Reverse your warrior, float your left arm up. Stay heavy in the left hip as you spider walk your right fingertips down the leg. Take your left forearm to your left knee or release it to the left block. Reach your right arm up and overhead. Extending long into your Parsvottanasana. Your variation, the one that works for you. Push down into your feet, rise up, straighten your left leg. Tilt your way into triangle. And push down into your feet, rise up, reverse your triangle. Dropping the right hand down, extending from the left foot through the left fingertips. Inhale and come back up. We'll do the same thing on the opposite side. Turn your feet parallel. Open the right toes out to the side. Come into your warrior two. Breathe into warrior two. Reverse your warrior, drop the left hand, reach the right arm up, extend from the right hip bone to the right armpit, through the right fingertips. All these poses are interchangeable. You can sort of open up in the same shapes and find things differently. All right, right elbow to the right knee, extend long into Parsvo, or bring the right fingertips to the blocks. On this side, let's play with just lifting the left arm up to the ceiling and straightening through the right leg. So there we go, right? Things shift, things change, we come back into the same shape. Keep that right knee a little micro bent, keep the right leg super strong. All right, let's inhale, rise up and reverse our triangle. Inhale, come back to center. Turn your feet parallel to one another. This time we'll hinge at the hips, come into a forward fold, and maybe walk your hands underneath your hips. We've had lots of hip opening space today. Maybe this feels good to walk your hands behind you. Bring your hands under your shoulders, heel, toe your feet back together again. Bend your knees and come all the way down onto your bottoms. Good. Bring your feet out in front. Legs are together now. Just sort of observe and notice the legs. Bring your hands down next to your hips. Lift your heart. Good. So this is a variation, really. It's Dandasana is the name of this pose. But it's also the shape that you're in when you are in a downward facing dog if you reach your arms up and overhead. So again, we hug the shoulders onto the back. We put space in the low back. We push the feet away from the hands and we reach up, reach up, reach up. Beautiful. Exhale, come onto your backs. Hug your knees into your chest and rock from side to side. Bring your left foot to the floor. Hug your right knee to your right armpit. Take the right arm on the inside of the right leg and reach for the outside of the right foot. And send your right foot up towards the ceiling. Now if the right foot's not accessible to you, that's okay. Put your hand behind your right leg, right behind the right knee, or maybe reach for the calf. So we're just opening up the hips. Keep that left hip anchored. You may notice that because we did all those nice weight-bearing standing poses, you have a little more space than you might have thought. And then we'll come to half happy baby on the opposite side. So we'll bring the left knee in towards the left armpit. Take the left arm on the inside of the left leg, wrap the hand around the left foot, bring the left heel up to the ceiling, melt the heel to the floor, melt that left hip. Maybe you're observing one side of your body feels differently about this. Okay, bring both feet up towards the ceiling, bring the knees towards the armpits, coming into full happy baby, and rock a little bit from side to side. Release your feet down to the floor. Walk your feet out to the wide edges of the mat. Let your arms gently come out to the sides, maybe next to the hips. I'm not a big fan for my shoulders to bring my arms way up high, but if that feels good to you, notice what works for you. With the hands down next to the hips, begin to drop the knees to the left and stop here long enough to feel the stretch from the right shoulder anchoring to the floor through the right leg. Inhale, come back up and drop your knees to the right. There'll be space along the left side of your body from the left hip through the left side of the body. Inhale, come back. Keeping your feet wide, windshield wiper your knees from side to side. And just like when we were doing cat-cow at the very beginning, if there's a space along the way where you feel like you need a little more time in order to really blossom and bloom, then stay there a little longer. Just sort of letting the body slow down. Ideally, in every yoga practice, we start off with a nice warm-up at the beginning, move through a little bit of heat, and then we allow the body to cool down. We have that beginning, the middle, and the end. That time at the very beginning of class, it includes some sort of reading or meditation or breath practice. That really is to set us up to be present to the practice. Then we move through the asanas, the physical part of the poses. And then we come to the end of our practice. And we come into Shavasana. And that's like pushing the reset button. All right, we'll come back to center. And we'll make our way into Shavasana, a nice Shavasana. So it may feel good to you to take your blanket and slide it underneath your knees. And to bring your hands down next to your hips, tucking the shoulders underneath your chest. Letting the weight of the heels rest on something, so either the floor or blocks. Take a full breath in and exhale and release the weight of the shoulders as if somebody gently guided your shoulders to the floor. You should close your eyes, settle into the surrender, this very important part of our practice. Take a deep breath in and exhale to let it go. Gently wiggle your fingers and your toes as you welcome awareness back to your body. Whenever you're ready, roll and rest on your right side, using your arm or your blanket as a pillow. As you rest on your right side, I'd like to share again from Dana Fall's book called Limitless, and it's called Before the Beginning. Mystery infuses every phase of growth. The first green shoot to push its way above the dirt, leaves and buds, blossoms, fruit, and seeds, even the dried stalks that rattle in the cold season. Each stage is equally honorable. What was present before the beginning will be there after the end. Bring our hands to heart center. As always, I am so honored to sit in the seat of a teacher. With love and gratitude, namaste. Thank you.